Riz.
No, I like saying it.
Of course you do.
Um,
Riz.
when are your day offs?
Hmm?
When are your day offs?
The weekend, bro.
So basically, the weekend.
Yes. Hey, Khalib. Oh, and I have to thank you, Khalib, because you brought up a very good point that has inspired a lot of this safe point. So shout out to you. And let me get over back here and here. Go over here. Cool video on Liv. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't pick up everything, and like I'm gonna say here, I don't say all of the clues, but what you pointed out and what a couple of other people pointed out, I started piecing these together like over the past couple of days, and there's a pattern here, and it's a very familiar pattern. So I am going to break that all down. And I need to drop my X post here. Hello, senor. We're gonna get started pretty soon. Oh, I like this. I like that. So put that in my doc. Cleve said, "Did you notice the WWE box in the clubhouse? I saw Club WWE. I have no idea what that is. If that's just some exclusive thing where they just gonna put exclusive stuff like behind a paywall, then okay, that's the doc. I need to go back over here. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Okay, that's going to the X. Go here. Senora Rose says La Catalina is a good acquisition in AAA. Oh, did she debut? I thought she was going to DEW. See, that's what Body Slam said. See, this is why you don't really believe like a lot of the dirt sheets or trade it with a huge grain of salt until it gets confirmed. Because they were saying she would go to AEW, like a full contract instead of a dual contract with CMLL. But if La Catalina is in AAA, that's cool. And it would actually be kind of funny if she actually popped up to help out Stephanie Vicure. But I'm kind of glad she's gotten back. She was released in that one of those waves of releases during, I believe, COVID, and she had to like sell everything like to because her visa was going to get revoked and stuff like that. So I am really really happy She's kind of landing back on the WWE side because that's what she wanted. She started off in the WWE. Let's go on and get started, shall we? I finally, after 30 minutes of playing this, finally got past the part of that stupid egg bear. So, we're gonna go on and get started. But first, we're going to get there. Let me check some stuff here. And I'm going to go here, and here, and here. Because I got to check my other stream. Go here. And my live here. Bear with me, y'all. I have to... Okay, let me go to my live viewer on YouTube because I am simulcast on YouTube and TikTok and Twitch. So, let's get this started. Because I need to look at my analytics here. Alright. So... Machina, I remember you. You have been great. OTC, hi, welcome. Jacob says, I have a positive idea on how Dom could win the World Heavyweight title. Yeah, I can hear that. But first, let me go and get started because I am dragging here. So, Roxanne Perez has been signaling something very specific since the Royal Rumble, even with her injury delay. And Liv Morgan doesn't know it yet. Tonight, I'm going to be showing you all the receipts because this is Wrestling Receipts podcast. I'm WriterMaven. I break down wrestling storytelling, specifically with the Judgment Day. Not just what happens, but why it happens. And to be fair and honest, I do not tell y'all all the clues I pick up on. There's a number of reasons for this. I want to make sure that it looks like it's leading in the right direction, or it's just like a red herring. But now I have a little bit of clues that I want to share with y'all that I picked up on this week. As I was saying when I first started, shout out to Khalib for help shaping a lot of this wave point with a certain comment that sent me down a rabbit hole. And prior to this, on my previous video, there was another comment pointing out Liv Morgan's hypocrisy that I completely missed on Monday Night Raw. So, I want to give a shout out to my viewers, my commenters, and those who have been pointing out things to me because I want to give full and faithful credit to those that helped me out. I don't like to just take credit as them as mine. There's a lot of people that help me out, pointing out clues, and that's what makes everything fun to report on this. So, shout out to Khalib because he's here in the chat. And shout out to, there's other people on my Monday Night Raw review that I really needed to get my name, and I think I'm going to put a list of that together on my next video. Just to say a shout out and thank you for pointing that out. So, we're doing Save Point. Since this is the go home week prior to WrestleMania, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be going live a little bit more. So, it's going to be this. Sunday is probably going to be off, but then next week we're balls to the wall, y'all. Because it is WrestleMania time. And while we're playing Breath of Fire 4, I'm going to be walking you through everything that I've been holding back on. And I've been teasing this on the X. If y'all have been paying attention on the X, I've dropped 2 posts that are teasers on what I'm talking about. So if you've been paying attention there, you might have a hint on where I've been going with this. So now, let's get into Roxanne Perez, our little prodigy and wild card, shall we? We all know she's probably not loyal to Liv Morgan. In fact, she's probably not even loyal to Finn Balor. I have always said that she has been over the move from Dom, and if anything she's doing, it's going to be for Dom. So, There are some specific clues that have dropped. There has been specific things that have been done that point me in a certain direction. I'm going to show you this, and we can debate. But first, let's tackle this bear, shall we? While I heal. Ah. And of course, this thing doesn't do anything. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Let me know if you can hear the game, because I think I had been having it way low on these past save points. Come on. Oh, I hate it when the x-axis doesn't want to... Oh, darn you. Okay, let's go back in. I gotta play with my gamepad and it's not wanting to sync up. Of course, here it goes. Doesn't want to work when I want to work. Okay, let's see if this will work. Okay, so you will work there, but you don't want to work there. Okay. Okay. Keyboard and mouse it is until I can get it synced. Alright, let's see. Okay. I have hated these little fungus little dudes. see where we at. Okay, where are we at? Oh. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Oh, fun guys. Okay, I like it. Finally. Wow. Okay. Now, finally. Okay. I'm gonna pause this here just a little bit. Go back over here. Thank you for liking the live, Misha. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. Jacob says, "What if Seth cost Punk the title and Dom cash in on Punk for the title?" I mean that could happen. I do want Dom to get Money in the Bank. People keep saying like Logan Paul and LA Knight and all that, but I think Dom is better suited for it. OTC Liz says, "I hope Liv Morgan and Dom win." I don't think either will win at this point, actually, especially Dom against the Demon. Nah, especially if they're trying to reestablish Finn. Jacob says the Triple A episode is now on YouTube. But yeah, I was thanks for that because I was trying to see that, but I'll look for it in a few. Senior says I can't see Dom winning the the Weber Heavyweight Challenge until 2027. I mean that's why I'm saying he can win Money in the Bank and he can hold on to it. Like he doesn't have to have a super quick cash in. You know, tease it a couple of times. Kind of could be like Damian Priest almost, where he has it, but he's just going to be a little bit more slimy about it. Thank you, OTC, for following me. Khalib said, "How come Liv never brings Roxana to basketball games and Coachella like Raquel does?" Well, I know there's best friends in real life, and I have a theory that they're doing this because they won't be able to do this like publicly coming up soon. So I think they're just getting a lot of it out of the gate now when they can, like Coachella and going to games and events and things like that, because they won't be able to in the near future, which will be kind of sad. But you got to maintain kayfabe. So, um, so let us go into some things. Okay. Now I am going to do something a little different. So I am going to switch from my game, and I'm going to provide you with some screenshots. And which screenshot is this? Let me double check it first. It's a black screen, don't panic. I am about to show you some evidence, because I can't say anything without evidence. Okay. This is what I want to show first. So, evidence number 1 on Wrestling Receipts is this little picture from Monday Night Raw where Liv was trying to explain her side and Roxanne wasn't really having it. Now, I want y'all to do something for me, and look at Roxanne's line of sight. Does it look like she's looking at Liv right here? Now, this is where I have to give credit again to Khalid for pointing this out to me, because, I mean, I had noticed this on Monday Night Raw, and I did bring it up with a friend, like, it doesn't look like she's looking at Liv here, but I didn't really think much of it at the time, but Khalid brought some more information and context to this, which made me think. So, look at this. We have Roxanne not paying attention to Liv, and Liv is being completely oblivious to it. So she's talking. Liv is going on about defending herself and what they had to do to defend, which is a contradiction, and I'll get into that a little bit more too. But bear with me here. So Liv is talking to Roxanne about what she had to do to defend, and Roxanne is looking past Liv. Now, in real life, people look away. It happens. But this is scripted television. This is scripted WWE television, and nothing happens without a reason because, as we all know, Triple H is not subtle. Every eye line is a directing choice. The camera caught it, and the director kept it. This means someone wanted you to see that Roxanne is not fully present in the moment. Liv is demanding everything from her. And she's somewhere else. Is she looking at Dom leave? Because remember, Dom had left prior to this. Or is she watching Stephanie? And if she's watching for Stephanie, what does that remind you of? What happened in 2024? I'm going to give y'all a little bit to chew on and think about that. So, 2024. What did we all say happened with Dom, Rhea, and Liv? I should have put the picture up here, but or at least put the video up here. But you know how Rhea was talking to Dom. Dom walked off, and this is where Liv attacked Rhea. Now, we've all said, and it's not really been actually like put into the canon, kayfabe canon, that this happened, but we always assume, because there's heavy hints on it, that Dom either saw Liv and wait to attack Rhea and he let it happen, or he was really in on it and then let Rhea get attacked anyway. So we have that constant here. Now, if we go back to Roxanne and Liv here, Roxanne is looking past Liv. Is she looking for Stephanie? If she is looking for Stephanie, then she knows that Stephanie's about to attack. Is this an indication that Stephanie and Roxanne are in on anything? No. This could just be the enemy of my enemy is my friend situation, where Roxanne is taking advantage of it. And I'm going to break this down a little bit more regarding this, but This gives me reminders of Liv's attack on Rhea. And if it is an attack, if this was set up like it was with Liv and Rhea, then this is an amazing callback. Because this is almost a karma situation. Because Dom set up Rhea to get attacked. Here it's Roxanne to set up Rhea. But here and everything here, Dom is still the constant here. So that's a little bit of something to think about. OTC says, I think the Judgment Day ends at the WrestleMania 42, maybe. I don't think so, because Triple H likes his factions. We still have the MFTs and the Wyatt Sticks running around on SmackDown when that has been bled to the bone. And on Raw, we don't really have a functioning version of the Vision right now. So right now, it just looks like it indicates that the Judgment Day is restructuring and not imploding. Because this has been, they said it on Monday Night Raw. Dom is the de facto leader. Now, notice that it's people saying Dom is the de facto leader. Like I say that he's the leader. He is not declaring that himself. There's a difference. And he's acting like a leader, like he was helping out JD. So, but there's ways he's looked to as the leader by like JD and Raquel, but he's not declaring himself such. But here with Liv, she's acting like she was the mastermind in Finn's ouster, even though she's trying to explain to Roxanne here that she had no choice and they had to kick out Finn because Finn attacked Dom. So which is it, Liv? You can't have it both ways, and that was the point of my latest video. Liv cannot have this both ways. Either she was the mastermind and she knew what Finn was up to, and she knew that Finn wasn't going to help Dom, which means she was complicit in Dom losing the Intercontinental title, or she was forced by Finn to kick him out. But that's a contradictory statement. And I think, you know what, and you want to know why I think Liv was trying to defend herself? She's trying to prove to Roxanne that she had, she's trying to absolve herself from blame. Because if you're coming in, why would you need to explain to Roxanne that Finn forced her hand? Own up to it. Just say, hey, I was plotting to get Finn out. There's no reason to try and cover your tail and your trail by saying that, Finn forced her hands. Just owned up to it. Yeah, we kicked them out. I was planning for this. So it just means that with her being a mastermind status, you have to take the fall on, you have to take the ups and the downs with that. Like if you're plotting to get Finn out, yeah, great, but you also have to take the responsibility of Dom losing his Intercontinental title to make that happen. Because Dom wouldn't have moved against Finn possibly without him losing the title, and JD wouldn't have moved against Finn if JD wasn't a witness to Finn costing Dom the title because he didn't want to act. You see what I mean? OTC, Liv Morgan. I think Liv is going to kick her out at SummerSlam. I think Liv is going out the Monday after WrestleMania at the latest. I really do. I don't think Liv is in Judgment Day till that long. And I don't think Raquel is going to be tolerating Liv that long. And I don't really think Roxanne is going to be tolerating Liv for that long. They need a face. And because of the way things are going with SmackDown, the way Rhea's getting set up, I think she's going to win that title and move over. So with Rhea winning the title and moving over to SmackDown, that leaves a gap over on Raw. And you can still have Stephanie be that title winner until they have whatever they're going on with Liv and Raquel and Roxanne. And then Liv could win the title. Liv says, "Can that be a reason for Roxanne to betray her and exclude her from activities with Raquel?" No, because that's mostly non-kayfabe. Like this isn't a kayfabe thing where um the WWE is kind of setting it up like as a kayfabe story. Like, oh, Raquel and Roxanne are having all these stories, and Roxanne feels that left out. That's non-kayfabe. Now, I will say you can kind of pull in like Raquel. A reason for Raquel turning on Liv is to like because fans always want to call her a snake. Like you can pull in some of like that like into kayfabe stronger. Like Raquel can be saying like, no matter what I did, everybody wanted to turn on me for you when I didn't do anything. So you can pull some of that into kayfabe. But as it stands right now, this is a non kayfabe situation. But now back to Breath of Fire 4. We're still going to talk about Miss Roxanne, but I got some other stuff that we really need to talk about because I am holding on a big piece of evidence, and that's coming up after this little break here, or at least this gameplay break. And not that one. I gotta really name all this stuff. And my game ping is not working. Bro. I don't know about that, man. Man, I've been chasing you for a whole like 4 weeks for that stupid bear. Your traps suck. Oh my gosh. Yeah, maybe not gloat so much, buddy. Ooh. Okay. Alright. Okay. Yeah, no shit. OTC says Roxanne Perez take Donna for Liv soon, maybe. I mean, it's possible. I have my theory that they are working together. And of course, the evil glint. Yeah. Oh my man. Okay, let me see how to beat this bear egg elephant thing. Am I Bob? Okay, so all right. Oh, okay. Let's try this. Let's see if I only got 3 apples. Okay. Of course. Cleve said, "Do they need the whole group to betray Liv, and who's going to team up with her to face the group?" I mean, they can actually have Liv go up with Finn, or they can have Liv do something on her own, because they can revive Liv Morgan Revenge Tour 2.0, and that's the only person that will give Liv the gravitas to face to have that Revenge Tour again would be something like Dom and Raquel, right? That's what get that spin off. I don't know who. Um, could be Finn. Maybe they kiss and make up. I don't know. But or they could just have it be like Liv facing like Raquel and Roxanne on her own while Dom does other stuff. So, Jacob, are you still 50% that Liv and Dom win both of their matches at WrestleMania? I do not think Dom wins. That's the demon. Unfortunately, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't really like how Dom had this losing streak going into WrestleMania, because if at least he had been winning, then him losing here wouldn't be so bad. But he's on a losing streak, and Finn, he can't really lose the return of the demon because he lost with Roman Reigns and Edge when he didn't need to lose against Edge, which really made no sense. So he needs to win. So I'm just gonna be, as a Dom fan primarily, I'm just gonna have to suck it up and see that shit, know that Dom is gonna lose. Mesh that says win in the Monday Night Raw, and after Raquel turns, and you can see Raquel doing a promo. I mean, yeah. They also said that you could have the Judgment Day just pull off a Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton type situation where they turn on her there. Really? Okay. I think I'm just gonna do a regular attack on you, bro. Oh, thanks, Nina. Ah, thank you. No, look, I got an apple back. And I'm going to go back because I was glad. Okay, and Mash just says, I really don't see Liv winning, but how that's going to work if Raquel needs the title so Liv doesn't have to. I mean, Liv could be like taken out, and then Raquel can challenge Stephanie again, and then Roxanne can help her win. So you can do something like that with Raquel, and then she has the title for a little bit until Liv comes back, and then they can have their feud. So there's ways you can do it. Um, let's see. Jacob says, "Are you going to be reviewing the AEW pay per view for tomorrow?" No. I kind of fallen out of favor with AEW. I mean, there's some things that I like, but it's kind of hard to follow right now. Jacob says SmackDown last night was boring. I will go a step further and say SmackDown was complete ass because first they wrote off Carmelo where um he has a quote unquote injury where he won't be able to challenge, for the title. So he's ridden out of WrestleMania for the second time, and I really ain't down for that. So I'm really upset about that. We had Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee stink up the joint for 30 minutes for no fucking reason. And then we have everything else was just ass. The only entertaining bits that I kind of liked was Danhausen um using pyro and the Undertaker's type things to win over Kit Wilson. And of course I like my girl Bailey and Lyra and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. So that was like the nice silver lining to that. But other than that, it was just straight ass. I was watching the Artemis 2 re-entry during SmackDown. It was that. Like, I was thinking that something nice would go down on SmackDown. No. So I was flipping over to Artemis 2, Splashdown, and Recovery, and I was watching that. Khalib says, I can see the group working with Stephanie helping her win. I don't think that Stephanie's working with the group, because I think the WWE would have put in a lot more clues with Stephanie working, because Stephanie has already called Dom trash over there, and if that was going to happen, she shouldn't have been calling Dom trash. I mean, when Liv was trying to get in with the Judgment Day, she wasn't calling Dom trash, so I can't go with Stephanie calling Dom all these names and then sternly working with him. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the WWE, but I just don't see that right now. Khalib says, will they bring back Liv for brutality back or not? I mean, they can if they wanted to have that pathway. Okay. So let us go. And real quick, if you want to support the stream, I do have Kofi, I have Throne, y'all have YouTube memberships. I don't need it, but it would be greatly appreciated. No pressure at all. Hanging out, we're playing, but it will help out. So, you want to help us support the channel, support Wrestling Overseas, so I can continue to do what I want to do. There's your options, but no pressure, folks. But let us go back into where is my thing? No. Okay, bring that back up. Okay. Let us talk more clues, shall we, with our wild card Roxanne Perez, which means okay, I'm gonna relabel this thing. No, that is not it. Oh my gosh. So we have this nice, lovely picture here. Now I'm going to take this one off, and I'm going to put up another one. Oops, actually that one. And I'm going to expand that a little bit. Oh, that's my media file. No, that's not chat box. What the heck? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to expand this a little bit. Alright. So, this is from Roxanne Perez's Instagram. This is where she had that nasty bump on the head from Liv Morgan, thanks to 70 Big Hair. Now, I want y'all to take a look at Roxanne and tell me what you see. Do y'all recognize anything? Now, if you need a hint, look underneath her ice pack. And while y'all looking at that, oh, I have Big Boy on YouTube saying something tells me if Liv gets kicked out of Judgment Day in the near distant future, she's going to try and get back in the good graces of Finn, and he's going to deny her every time with good reason. Yeah, like, I could see that happening. What I see with Liv is that she's getting set up for a hard fall. The hard fall that Rhea Ripley should have had. The hard fall Rhea should have been dealing with on SmackDown now, where she has no friends, and you see how Mi Chin brought up their history, like, they shouldn't be having to be friends because she and Rhea were beefing when Michin was a part of AJ and the Good Brothers. But that fell to the wayside because, of course, no, Rhea can't look weak for more than like 2 weeks. So what's getting set up here with Liv is that hard fall, and this is being a part of it. And Klausa says, "Hey," and they said, Klausa says, "I'm going to miss some of the Mania next week. It starts at 5 p.m. Dallas time, and I'm off at 7. Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's the pre-show. I think that might start at 6. I am Central Time, too, so you might be able to catch it, like, around, maybe not miss all of it, like 2 or 3 weeks. So if you're off work at 7, you might be able to catch it. I'm not sure on the start time. I know they say 5 p.m., but it's like pre-show after pre-show with WrestleMania. So you might be able to catch it. And 850 Big Boy, my guy, says purple bandana. Did you catch that? There is a purple bandana under the ice pack. Now, where is a purple bandana and who is a purple bandana affiliated with, even though he hasn't worn it in a long time? That would be Dirty Dominik Mysterio. Now, I'm going to do some arguments and counter arguments to this because I want to be fair about it. The purple bandana is not current Judgment Day colors. The current Judgment Day colors are black and white, and that is fitting more with Liv's aesthetic once she joined. But, as I said, a purple bandana has been a part of Dom's aesthetic since he became Dirty Dom in 2023. He always had some form of the paisley. Um, and when he was out at 40, WrestleMania 40, he had the purple paisley. And when Liv was chasing him around, if you remember those infamous photos where we had a purple bandana in Liv's pocket, and we saw Dom have pop up with the bandana in one promo, and then it disappeared in the next. That was heavily associated with Dom. And this is where, and people were kind of arguing that that was a Finn bandana and a JD bandana at the time, but as we know now, that wasn't the case because JD hasn't rocked a purple bandana like that, and Finn hasn't rocked a purple bandana like that. And here now, Roxanne has never rocked any kind of purple bandana. Can it be random? Bandanas exist, yeah, but she's never worn this item before. And this, why would you use this particular bandana or this color? Of all bandanas, of all things to use, why would you use a purple and bandana that is associated with Judgment Day? Like, not even just Dom. That's a Judgment Day aesthetic. So you can't argue, well, she's doing Judgment Day with purple, and we've had a Judgment Day like official bandana, but that doesn't look like an official Judgment Day bandana, like the official merch Judgment Day bandana, because there is a specific one if they had it still on the WWE shop. But it sticks out. And like I said, that is Dom's aesthetic. I'm going to come back to this because I do have a whole theory on why this is all why she's posting like this, but just keep that in the back of your mind. This is a clue. This is like a, if this it leads to Dom and Roxanne, then this is pretty much our one of our first official clues. And if we want to take it back a little bit further, I'm going to take that off and do this. Now, what Roxanne is sporting here. If I could replay it again. Oh, come on, you. Too. When Dom was prison Dom, he wore that. Like when he was really starting to get into prison Dom, that prison Dom and dirty Dom, that's what he wore. Now, here's the sneaky thing. Roxanne wore this during like the preview into the kickoff. This is from the Royal Rumble kickoff. So she wore this during the walk into the kickoff. But at the actual kickoff itself, she didn't wear it. When Michael Cole was introducing him, she didn't have it on. So, those are some nice clothing hints. And like I said, I have been sitting on that for a while now. Because sometimes you gotta make sure things start lining up. When I saw the purple bandana on Monday, I had to go back and think, like, what else has Roxanne kind of worn of Dom's? And I remembered that little walk-in. Now, this is prior to Royal Rumble, and I think this is when they decided to have Roxanne be kind of written off, quote unquote, because she had to have that surgery to remove that benign mass. So, whatever Dom and Roxanne were going to do, they had to put a pause on it. And that's why we had that miserable setup of Dom returning when he had nothing else to do. You know, he didn't return for his own feud. He just returned for Liv, which was greatly annoying. But you could see where you could see like a little breadcrumb there prior to Roxanne getting written off, because I think they might have just made the decision like after Royal Rumble for that. I'm gonna go back over here. 850 Big Boy says, "Uh-oh, yeah." I mean, that's little breadcrumbs. And like I said, Triple H is not subtle at all. Like, those are little things that stick out. And if you know what Dom has worn in the past, then you know that that's a part of his aesthetic. That's the prison Dom aesthetic. And if Dom ever wants to kind of go back to that a little bit, or shift Judgment Day back to that prison dirty Dom aesthetic back in 2023, like when they actually had On the Other Side from Alter Bridge, then they could do that. But that's that. On that little clue. So, back to Mr. Mayor here, because he's greatly getting on my nerves, and I'll continue. Who are you? But, dude, I just saved your life, and you're going to be talking about who you. Bro. Like, no shit. Please tell me that you were going to transport there. Please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, let me save. Because I need to save. Otherwise, I'm going to tear my hair out. Okay. Alright, there we go. It was a pain in the ass. Did you drink some water, baby? Huh? You did? Okay. What did you eat? Oh, it might be those nuggets. Don't know. Well, drink a little bit more water. E50 Big Boy says, I remember that now. What did you remember, Big Boy? Let me see. Let me go back over here. Hold on. Before I continue on that. Jadarius. Hey, Jadarius. I haven't seen you in a while. Is Roxanne in the room with someone? Who said that? Okay, let me read some of these comments before I go back to the game. Cleve says after Liv kicked out, what are they gonna do with all her stuff? Probably toss it. Hey, did y'all notice in the clubhouse? That's another thing too. That y'all noticed that her little area is kind of sparse. Like there's a whole. I should have probably uploaded the picture of that too. But her little area, like the bat in the photo, is like really sparse. And when Liv was attacked and she was on the ground, she was in front of Dom's backbone, like his backbone vest. Like that's the one that he wore at SummerSlam. So that's his backbone vest. And then she's like positioned kind of in front of her Liv Morgan Revenge Tour 2.0 shirt as well. So there's a lot of deliberate staging here. Also, if you also think about it too, when Liv got her head hit into the TV and busted it, that kind of severed what Liv had been providing to the Judgment Day was that TV. You know how Carlito was all happy about it? Like that's like a physical severing of that because that busted the TV. It didn't take out the PlayStation, but it did take out the TV. You know, the rigging that she gifted the Judgment Day. Masha says that could happen, but Liv and Rhea need to apologize to each other if it could be. I mean, yeah, they do need to apologize, and then they would have a common point of being portrayed by Dominik Mysterio, so they can possibly do that. Maisha says she smiles. Who's that in the room? Is that Raquel? See, I will kind of get into this too because you can make an argument that that might be Dom taking care of her there. Now he does he wear jeans like that? Maybe, maybe not, but you can make an argument for that. I'm gonna get into like the whole timeline on this one because I do have a timeline on how things got set up here. Um, Jacob says, when do you think Don will drop the AAA Mega title? He'll drop that to El Grande, but I'm not sure when. Masha says his bandana on her Instagram when she was doing the revenge tour, and that time she was talking to Dom. Yeah. Cleve said Roxanne was not at Dom's birthday party. You could hear her in the background. She just wasn't seen. That's a deliberate thing. Like, you could hear her laughing a little bit, but they're being really, really deliberate in keeping Dom and Roxanne separate. And if there was nothing going on there, there would be no reason to keep them physically separated, like at this point. Like, that's a very deliberate choice. Um, Jacob says apparently they're doing the Mavs versus match in between El Grande Americanos and AAA. Yeah, that makes sense because that's Mexico and they will eat that up. And it wouldn't go over well in the WWE right now, Prolance, so it makes sense to do that in AAA. Jadarius said, hey, Maven, yeah, I'd be forgetting to join the live. No worries. I mean, I'm glad you're here. I just haven't been seeing you in a minute, and I know you really like commenting, so I'm glad you're here. Cleve says, so Dawn's music playlist is based on Roxanne. I think it's mostly on Liv and a little bit of Roxanne because Dawn's playlist, even though people keep trying to tell me on TikTok of all places, oh, he has a wife. Like, what does that have to do with anything? You're gonna post a song about having a side chick and have dealing with breaking up and because he has a wife? Like, I'm pretty sure if Dom was referencing his wife, the actual Dom Gutierrez and not Dominik Mysterio, then if he was referencing his wife, we would have actual posts that are specific to his wife. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to come out the work. Oh, he has a wife. He could be, just talking about anything. I'm like, yeah, but if anybody remembers in the summer of Live Dom, he was posting these types of songs and people were breaking it down and they were just saying, oh, this is about Liv or oh, this is about Rhea. Y'all remember that? Like, so how come that it was acceptable then, but when I'm bringing it up now, because it does show a trajectory of Dom being unhappy. Like, it started when, like, you remember prior to the World Rumble where Dom posted, I don't trust anybody, and then he had to, like, 2 hours later, mind you, not course correct like then, but 2 hours later, he course corrected and said Liv. And then that course correction was a reply where you had to hunt for that course correction. You see what I mean? Like, he's been slower and slower on the responses for Liv. I'm talking about 1 or 2 hours, maybe a day. Sometimes he'll be replying to somebody else. Like, he would respond to Austin Theory and Bronson Reed faster than what Liv would post. Like, that has been the case through his social media activity for months now. And like I said, and I keep saying, if this was in 2024, then we would be dissecting this, especially if it was like Liv, like it was like Rhea, like doing all these posts to Dom, and Dom was doing this. Dom set up in 2024 that as soon as Liv posts, he immediately replies, hearts, repost, or he has like a GIF response. He set that baseline. Dominik set that baseline. So I'm going to notice when it starts taking hours and maybe even days for Dom to respond. That's just something. Like, Dom set up that baseline between him and Liv. And like I said, when Dom initially lost the Intercontinental title, before not Summer, before the Survivor Series, and Liv didn't post anything. Like, she didn't like post any like cheer up, we're gonna do this, yada yada yada. She didn't post that, and I was pointing it out. I pointed that out, like, why can't you post anything regarding your boy Prezos? And people are saying, like, what did you expect Liv to say? I'm like, if if Liv had lost her title and Dom didn't say anything, we would not be hearing the end of it. But with Liv, there's all kinds of excuses. Oh, what did you expect her to say? I don't know. Like, hey, cheer up, have a sad emoji. You know, you're still the champ in my eyes. You notice that she did that when she lost when he lost to Penta. She did that post, but she couldn't do a post when he initially lost to John Cena. And don't give me that she, couldn't do that because she was out injured, because she had been posting things on social media. She hadn't did a media blackout like Rhea did when she was injured. Liv had been posting on social media things all throughout her injury, so it's not like she wasn't there, or it would have been unusual for her to post. So why was it? Oh, why is it that um, we it's okay that Liv didn't post anything when Dom initially lost the title? So there's little things like that. And like I said, and I think I keep saying it, when Liv returned, she did that to reestablish herself as the boss, pretty much. So, she gets the title back, and then she's the big dog. But you did notice that she hasn't done anything else really for Dom since then. It's all been about her. It's about her getting the Royal Rumble title, her getting the, having this little thing with Stephanie. Her, it's been, everything has been about her. Meanwhile, Dom has been supportive to JD. We saw how JD has been really supportive. I mean, Dom has been really supportive to JD. And how he, even this past Monday with JD, he was saying that JD is going to bring gold back to the Judgment Day. So he's being supportive to JD in his title aspirations, and he was even being supportive to Raquel in her title aspirations. Even though Liv was obviously wanting that title, Dom was very supportive of Raquel. And that's the time where you would think if they were going to have like Liv and Dom on their own, like Dom would just be the one like maybe downplaying what Raquel wanted, but he didn't do that. He's been very supportive of Raquel. So there's just a lot of little things there, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but yeah. So yeah, Cleve just got me on that tangent. Senior said JD in Dom's birthday said this was your first birthday. Yeah. Cleve says so. The video game is showing Liv and Finn and Dom Rocks being together. You could kind of take it that way, Cleve, because go back and watch the Judgment Day promo, clubhouse photo promo from this past Monday Night Raw. When Liv and Raquel were on the screen, when Liv was about to dismiss Raquel, it was Finn on the screen. So you can see Finn below, because I actually took the screenshot of that. So you have Finn there. So you got Liv lined up with Finn. And then when Roxanne enters the fray, the screen switches to Dom. So you have to go back and look. It's really quick because Roxanne is kind of blocking Dom there. But you do see when Roxanne comes into the screen, it's Dom on the screen. So you have a blocking of Dom on the screen, and they have said that the clues be on that TV. So you have Finn kind of lining up with Liv here, and then you have when Roxanne comes in, it's Dom. So you can go back and watch that promo. Um, Jerry says, "You think Raquel let Stephanie in the clubhouse to attack Liv?" I think Liv kind of set that up herself, and they just didn't. They just kind of let Liv's hubris get to her. I'm going to explain that what I think happened in a few minutes when I get back to it. Let me go back to YouTube because old big boy is talking here. Big Boy says, could Roxanne be plotting with Raquel against Liv as well because they still haven't said anything about their issues? They can be. Raquel and Roxanne got close. Roxanne hasn't been trying to step over Raquel. They've been really supportive of each other. And Raquel may not like it that how, there's this big looming thing of Liv eliminating Raquel from the Royal Rumble, and you could even go to Roxanne having a problem with Liv too because Liv didn't save Roxanne from getting eliminated by Rhea Ripley. So you can have that. And then with Roxanne, because I do think she is over the moon for Dom, she may not like what Liv is doing. So it's just a little bit easier for her to plot up against Liv because she's going to be supportive for Dom. And with Raquel, I think we're going for a reverse Rey Mysterio situation with Dom. I'm going to get into that because that's my little pet theory. Because if Raquel turns on Liv, then this kind of confirms a theory of mine regarding Dom as it relates to Rey. So I'm going to get into that too. I know I'm going to get into a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that I need to kind of break down now. Big Boy also says, oh, when Dom was wearing that shirt, I would think Roxanne had on, or was it a jacket? It's like a little cholo shirt. I call it a cholo shirt. It's a lot of where the quote unquote vatos be wearing. So that's like I said, that's a shirt that Dom wore during his when he was starting up Prison Dom and Dirty Dom. That's a shirt that he wore. And if you want to look for the specific shirt that he wore, look back to January 2023 during the tag team number one contender gauntlet match on Monday Night Raw when they were determining a number one contender from Raw to face the Usos, and was the because Dom had an interview with the Miz, and he had that shirt on, and then they had a gauntlet match. Rhea wore this shirt too, so you want to go back to that particular one. Actually, let me go look up the date because you could probably look at this up in the vault. I'm gonna give you the exact Raw because that's where he started wearing that shirt. And title number one contender Raw 2023 Judgment Day versus Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. And it was a gauntlet match. Not 2023, 2024. That looks like that was January 17, 2023. Because they faced the Good Brothers, and then they faced Alpha Academy, and then they faced the Street Profits. So then I think there was another top tag team in there. So if you want to look that up, that was January 17, 2023. I know it was in January, so it's around there. So you could, if you got Netflix, look up that Raw. You can see Raw in that like cholo shirt, as I like to call it. Big Boy says after what happened with Rhea and Liv in the past, and then now what's going on with Rhea and Ia, Liv better stay away from Rhea. Like Rhea is a black hole. Like I am so serious. Like everything gets sucked up into her drama, and nobody really looks good. And it's really annoying because you could be doing a lot more with Rhea, but it is what it is. Jacob says if JD doesn't win the IC title, when do you think JD will win the IC title? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it at WrestleMania. You could do something like that. I so want Rey Fenix to turn on Penta so bad. Like, because he was kind of showing that tendency during the AAA show a couple of weeks ago. So I was like, you know what, just have Ray Phoenix turn on Penta. Have him be jealous that Penta has all this, and then he has to deal with SmackDown and getting scraps. Like his partners get taken away, everything, all of his momentum got taken away. Penta got injured, and he couldn't even have his match with his brother during that against Dom. So Bray could just really join up against Penta. That'll get Penta to the Raw side, and then you can have him go out of there. That's what I really want to happen. And then that would be another thing of somebody turning against Rey Mysterio, because we always have to have somebody every year turn against Rey Mysterio just for reasons. Um, yeah. Let me get back into this. That was easy. Bruh. Who is this dude again? Oh, okay. Oh, it's Bunyan. So he said, does this mean when Liv gets kicked out, is she going to back out her Twitter and profile and background? Maybe. Nope, you're not alright. What a coinky dink. Not before saving first. I'm not. Oh, brother. Oh, brother. I hate this stupid town. Okay, go this way, this way. Okay. Uh, Jacob says, "What is your favorite Mario Kart game?" I'm partial to the Super NES version because that's what I grew up on. Um, Cleve says, "So are they going to throw away this picture, T-shirt, and baseball bat?" Probably. Seer says, "So Raquel and Roxanne are going to say today at WrestleMania." Either they cost her purposefully or accidentally on purpose. But the way the matches are going on for WrestleMania both days, I think they might save a trigger pull to the Monday after WrestleMania, so they could do something accidentally on purpose, and then do the full trigger pull on Monday. Jacob says, "Is there a chance the Judgment Day might get their old thing back or not?" I kind of hope so. I love Alter Bridge, but Alter Bridge is in behind Edge, and he's in AEW, so I don't know. Um, 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 85th Big Boy says, it says, 84th Big Boy says, "I think this is where Don was wearing a purple plaid shirt in a promo against the Usos, right?" Yeah, like he's more in that type of shirt. It wasn't really the white and black one. He kind of switched it up. So he would do purple and black and white and black, but it's the Cholo shirt. I know there's a specific name for it, but I just call it a Cholo shirt because the Vatos be wearing it. You wanna join me in how I think this all went down on Monday? So here's what I think happened on Monday. You remember how I said that they're mirroring what Liv did to Rhea with Stephanie and Liv? So this is what I think happened. So this is the prior. Okay, so this is the Stephanie attack. This is what I think went down. First, we have Dom, JD, Raquel, and Liv. Now, here's what I think. Now, Dom may or may not have known that Stephanie was going to attack Liv. Let's say that he has an inkling that Stephanie let's assume for a moment that Dom thinks that Stephanie is going to attack Liv. So this is what I think went down. So Dom and JD. JD has some concerns about Rey being in the ladder match. So what Dom says is, "Hey, I have an idea on how to handle my deadbeat dad. Let's go talk to Adam Pearce." So he and JD leave, and it's a clean exit, no involvement. Now this is when Roxanne comes in, and because Liv wants to talk to Roxanne alone because she wants to get her side of the story out to Roxanne, she dismisses Raquel. So, Raquel has now a plausible alibi. Liv dismissed her. Liv didn't want her around, so she leaves. Roxanne stays. And then when Stephanie attacks Liv, she gets hit. Now, Roxanne has an alibi because she got a hit. She got a bump from Stephanie. So, you have on one side Roxanne taking the hit, so it doesn't look like she was in on anything. So if Dom and Roxanne are working together, they did a divide and conquer. Dom gets JD out, and when Roxanne comes in, she gets Raquel out because Raquel was dismissed by Liv because Liv was wanting to get her side of the story out. And then Roxanne gets a hit on the head from Liv, and that gives her a cover alibi because she was attacked when Stephanie she was hit when Stephanie attacked Liv. So all the bases are covered. It's a perfect cover. It keeps Liv from suspecting Roxanne while costing Roxanne nothing more than a bump. So she gets a little head bump. She gets she gets the goose egg and a unicorn, but she gets a airtight alibi because hey, I got hit when Stephanie attacked Liv. Raquel has a covering alibi because Liv dismissed her, and then Dom took JD out of the clubhouse on the Judgment Day faction business. You see how everything kind of lines up there. So Dom gets JD out, Roxanne gets Raquel out. And then Roxanne takes the bump to give herself a coloring alibi. And then later, for that picture from Instagram, that establishes her alibi more because she's got this bump on her head. And she's able to do her cover story. Hey, I did the bump. I wasn't in on anything. So pretty much Roxanne got collateral damage just to set up Liv. So now with that in mind, let's go back to the recovery picture. You got the purple bandana. The read most people have is that the recovery content. She got hit, she's okay, moving on. But what if it's not recovery content? She shows that she got hurt. She's a victim. No one looks at a victim sideways. But under the ice pack, it's the same signal she's been sending since the Royal Rumble. It's an alibi. It's an alibi and a loyalty symbol all at the same time. She's showing she's loyal to Dom, and it's her alibi. And to spin it back a little bit, and to cover what I said in these previous videos, we have to go back to what Liv and Roxanne were talking about. Liv had to thank Roxanne for helping her against Stephanie. But think about that. Why did Liv have to thank Roxanne? That means Roxanne acted independently, not under Liv's direction, and I pointed this out in the review. She was not a part of the plan, she was on her own. So Roxanne made her own call. Then Liv pulled Roxanne aside privately to justify Finn's removal, to explain why Dom lost the Intercontinental title. But that wasn't faction business. That was spin control. Because why would she make that argument when Dom or JD could have made that argument to Roxanne? Think about it. Like if people wanted to explain things to Roxanne on what they needed to do, it would have made more sense for Dom to say it, or JD, especially JD, because he was the one that led the hit against Finn. So you could have JD say, hey, this was what happened, this is what we needed to do. And it would have made more sense coming from JD and Dom. Like, hey, Finn cost us this, we had to do this. But no, it was Liv. Why is Liv trying to spin control here? This is a spin control targeted at one specific person because Liv knows on some level that Roxanne was the one that she needs to convince. Okay. Okay, so. And then this is where Roxanne gives Liv the fake smile and a non answer because Roxanne was cut off by answering when Stephanie attacked Liv. So everything is tied up nicely in a bow right now. And let me go back over here to YouTube. Okay, Big Boy is saying the same things. Oh, I haven't told y'all the reverse Rey Mysterio theory, have I? Let's get into that. So, what is the reverse Rey Mysterio theory that I have? I don't think I put this in a video. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't, but I'm gonna say it here. So, the reverse Rey Mysterio. Y'all know how Rey Mysterio, the deadbeat dad, chooses people over his close friends and family, and typically when that happens, that close friends and family will turn on him. So when Rey would choose other people over his his close friends and family, they would turn. So this is the pattern. It happened with Eddie Guerrero. It happened with Batista. It happened with Dom. Happened with Santos Escobar. It happened with Carlito. And this is why I keep saying that it would be real funny if Rey Fenix turned on Rey Mysterio, and if Dragon Lee turned on Rey Mysterio, because he sets that up where he starts paying attention to other people other than like the people that he's established. So that's the Rey Mysterio trope there. Now with Dom, he might be doing the opposite. And how did I come to this theory? It starts with JD. So with Dom, with being a reverse Rey Mysterio, Dom gets people who will forsake their close friendships and family for him. And we are seeing that with what JD did. JD was, was a mentoree of Finn Balor, and JD would call Finn Da, his dad. So when JD turned on Finn, it was JD choosing Dom over his established connection with Finn. So you see what I'm saying with the reverse Rey Mysterio trope here? So JD chose Dom over Finn. This theory gets proven if Raquel chooses Dom over Liv. So notice how Dom has been pretty much been supportive of Raquel. Now, we all know that Dom has prevented Raquel from winning the titles when he was with Rhea. We all know that. We know that they have that history between the two of them. But in the current times, the current present time, Dom has been supportive of Raquel. He has supported Raquel trying to get a title. He even did this even though knowing that Liv wants that particular title and wants to get it from Stephanie. He has never spoken against Raquel wanting to have, get the title from Stephanie, or he supported Liv in her aspirations where it would step on Raquel's toes. He hasn't done that, which is really interesting. See, this is why I say, like, Liv and Dom versus the World and Natural Born Killers and Bonnie and Clyde kind of falls flat on his face because they haven't been acting that way. So, if Raquel turns on Liv, she will be turning on Liv, who has been her best friend. She would be turning on Liv, who she considers her sister, because they have mentioned that multiple times in these last couple of months. So Raquel turning on Liv would be another person forsaking their close established relationship for Dom. And in Raquel's case, that's more significant because Dom did actually treat Raquel dirty when they first, were around each other. He cost her title opportunities and title wins. So if Raquel does that, turns on Liv for Dom, that's huge and very significant. And that kind of sets up the whole reverse Rey Mysterio theory. And that's something they can play against, and that's something they can kind of work against in the future. Because everybody wants to joke, oh, somebody's going to turn on Rey because he's, paying attention to somebody else. Well, they got something they can set up with Dom by being this reverse Rey Mysterio. And with Roxanne, she might be just choosing Dom over her own independence. Like, she's locked into Dom. He's like, so Dom is like this gravitational force. And it makes sense because everything is just pretty much circling around Dom. Do, 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 do. Okay, let's see. And let's see. Um, Khalib says, is Liv getting a new character change with the blue tongue? I don't know. Maybe she's reverting back to it. Senor said, your favorite moment of Finn Balor in the Judgment Day. I really like Finn Dom stuff. Like when they were really tight, like when Damien and Rio were around, they were really had this really close bond where Finn was just really taking care of Dom. You could really see this in 2022-23 Judgment Day version. So if you go back to the Raw Vault and look at all the Raws in like from when Dom joined Judgment Day all the way through 2023, they always had some really sweet moments. Like whenever Dom would get like down and out, it was Finn like more so than Rhea looking after Dom, and it's really they were just really cute. There's funny things where Finn was like carrying Dom out of the arena during a live event, like over his shoulders, because Dom had gotten knocked out. And that was funny. And then there's one where Dom and Finn were trying to get each other to leave by holding the ropes. So Dom was like trying to hold the ropes for Finn, and Finn is like me, and then so Finn like sits on the ropes to have Dom go out in front of him. So Dom goes out, sits back on the ropes, and helps Finn get out. So then exits the ropes, and then they both grab hands, and then they jump off the apron. It's hilarious and cute. So while I am sad about Finn Dom ending just because we've always had those kind of little sweet moments between them, I'm excited to see what this match will do. But that's what that reminds me of Finn and Dom, because they would just be so caring to each other before all the all the strife because everything has to come to an end in the WWE at some point. So, but it was just cute. You could see things like that. Um, you can see where Finn was really proud of Dom winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Like when the camera panned to him, like really quick, you could see how he was happy for him. You could see things like that. Um, and what else is there? There's been some other things with like when Finn and Damien won the unified tag titles at Payback. Um, Dom was like trying to get he's like holding Finn's hand like after the match, and he was trying to when he was trying to get Finn up, Finn was like me, like he didn't believe that he had won because he kind of rolled onto Sammy to pin him. So you get those really cute interactions with Finn and Dom there. So if you want to look back at Payback, you can see that little Payback 2023. You can look at that. And yes, I do remember a lot of the events and the dates because this is a wrestling receipts channel, and I keep a lot of receipts. Um, Senora said, "Can you see Roxanne still getting separated from the group during the HOS ceremony?" I don't think so. I think they can kind of put everybody together, like JD and Raquel, Dom, Liv, and Roxanne. So I think they can still do that, and they can probably do some shenanigans there, like if they want to show some tension or like kind of kayfabe it up a little bit. They can still kind of do it. Going back to YouTube. Let me see if I can get out of this hole because I'm going to start wrapping this up a little bit. Okay, how do I switch? Because I need to get... Okay. I'll just do this. Screw it. How's that for that? Good grief. Alright, let's see if I can... Come on, I just need to save. I hate it when my gamepad doesn't work. Okay, so it's not this one. I need to go to the other one. Ah. I hate this stupid game sometimes. Ah, good grief. Alright, let's rest. Yes, I was gonna save because I am done for this game right now. I'm gonna start explaining some more stuff. Okay. So, Senior said, unpopular opinion, although the Judgment Day pictures last year were living around. Well, one thing, people fried me for this last year, but I was the one that was saying, like, hey, I'm kind of glad Dom won the AAA champion without Live around because that was something he established on his own. Like, yeah, he had his partnership with El Grande Americano, Ludwig edition, but that's something he set up. She didn't have anything to do with it. Kind of like the same thing with like the Intercontinental Championship. Like she didn't do anything for the Intercontinental title when he won it. And then when Liv was gone, he was able to do stuff. See, this is what really annoyed me when Liv got back. Now this isn't Liv's fault. I'm not blaming Liv. I just don't like how the booking switched around when she got back. So when Liv was out on injury, we had Dom stepping up. We had a really cool feud between Dom and AJ Styles. It was hilarious, and Dom was being really aggressive. Like we got the things of like AJ praying to God so Dom would heal up. AJ dressing up as a janitor and a valet, and WWE medical. Trying to get Dom cleared. Y'all remember that? AJ sending a cake, get well soon cake to Dom. Dom having the doctor's note. Um, Dom saying, it was the adrenaline in my soul when Adam Pearce was questioning when Dom was trying to interfere in matches. It was just a really hilarious and cool feud. Like we should have been getting stuff like that for Dom. We should have been getting stuff like that for Finn. Like Dom and Finn's trigger should have happened last year, and I still stand on that because now they looped in Liv when Liv didn't need to be looped in on it, and now they've created it. Maybe they've done this on purpose because she's double talking and talking out both sides of her mouth now. So maybe that's the intention, but they could have pulled the trigger with Finn and Dom last year, where Dom could have taken a little bit of charge while Liv was gone, and then Dom and Finn could have feuded over the Intercontinental title. You see what I mean? Like, you know, they were we had Finn and Dom holding on for so long only for Dom to lose the title when Finn could have used that, And that's what really sucked. But in addition to all that, we had kind of JD stepping up. He was starting to do some singles titles things. Like he was in that Latin American Fatal 4-Way in AAA. That was really cool. He got to have matches with John Cena. He was starting to have matches with Ilya Dragunov. So he was really starting to step up as a single competitor. And then Raquel took off. Like she channeled Big Mommy Cool and Big Sexy, and she just took off. And she was really getting really good. She was owning her size, and everything just kind of clicked with Raquel, and I was really, really pulling for her. Roxanne was losing a lot, and that's kind of par for the course sometimes when you're trying to get the reps in. But at least she was establishing a character. We saw that she was like over the moon for Dom, that she was still trying to talk to Dom. There was a lot of little things like that with Roxanne, and we had these characters kind of building up there, and then as soon as Liv got back, everything went to shit. First, Liv came back and slapped Dom, which you know how I reacted on that Monday Night Raw. Like I was like, you know what, I ain't having it. I've got to start having to turn in my Liv Dom card because I am not going to be here for Dom just getting slapped around. I don't care if you think that's kinky or not. And then, like I said, then like you can't claim that Dom is into it because when he said that, that's what he went away from Rhea because she was doing that. You can't just say, oh, they're a kinky couple, because since that slap, have we seen any of that between Dom and Liv on WWE TV, social, or anything like that? No. We haven't seen that any kind of like kinky stuff like with Dom and Liv since that slap. You see what I mean? So for all the claims that he's into it, how come we haven't seen it then? I'm really glad we haven't seen it then, but you see what I mean? That's my point. So we had that. Raquel had her momentum snatched away. Like when she should have won the championship after on the Raw after the Royal Rumble, that's when she should have won the title. She should have won that title from Stephanie. She should have. They should have made her. That should have made Stephanie, Liv, and Raquel a triple threat match. And I don't care how many Liv fans say it. Liv and Stephanie feud is not that exciting. Everybody's looking at that feud because they want to see the aftermath of that feud. They want to see what happens to Liv. Will she get betrayed? Will Roxanne and Raquel turn on her, or will Liv turn on them? Will Dom turn on him? Because as soon as Dom exited this Liv and Stephanie feud, nobody cares. Look at other commentators, not just me because I'm dedicated to the Judgment Day, but look at other wrestling commentators. Nobody cares about that match. Everybody looks at the Rhea and Jade match more. When they talk about it, they talk about Jade and Rhea, even though that one isn't good either. So you have Raquel, her momentum got halted, and then she got put right back into a bodyguard role. Like, look at how miserable she was looking at that Valentine's Day date with, like, Liv and Dom on SmackDown. She was looking miserable. Dom was even looking miserable at times during that date. Like, nobody was really having fun. It was like Liv being oblivious to it. Like, yeah, Dom would have a good look on his face at certain points, but other times he wasn't looking that happy. And then Raquel wasn't looking like all that happy. And then they stopped Raquel questioning Liv. Now, it kind of picked up a little bit more when Raquel was just like staring daggers at Liv because Liv was all complaining about what Stephanie said about her. You did see Raquel stared daggers at her because Liv pretty much cost her a title opportunity, Intercontinental, when she came down there to interfere. So that did kind of get set up. But, that stopped Raquel's momentum. Roxanne kind of got pushed into. Roxanne kind of got pushed into this pet type role with Liv. So nobody was, everything kind of got shifted around. And then they did what I was arguing against for the whole year. Is then they tried to make Liv like the focal point between Finn and Dom, when that shouldn't happen. People don't like it when Dom interferes in the women's matches, and you see how he exited the Liv and Stephanie thing real quick, and everything went to shit. So, people would complain about Dom being in the center of Liv and Stephanie or women's feuds, but nobody has any complaints when Liv was in the center of Dom and Finn's when she didn't need to be there. That's the issue. Dom and Finn should be able to stand up on their own. Dom and Finn have enough history to set up a nice feud. They didn't need Liv. And then they set it up where she's taking credit as the mastermind. Like, why did they need to do that? And then the kicker in all this, if you listen really closely to Finn's promos, he hasn't mentioned Liv at all. You see what I mean? Go back and listen to Finn's latest, 2 promos that he's done. Has he mentioned Liv? No. So Liv is over here being taking credit as the mastermind, but Finn hasn't even talked about her in neither of his promos. So, you got Liv there unnecessarily taking credit when it should have been Dom and Finn. And then they don't have a belt to fight over anymore. So, Liv wasn't necessary for that feud. And that's probably a good reason why I am not a Liv Dom. I can't go for Liv and Dom anymore. Do I like them individually? Yeah. But I think at this point they need to be separated. Because right now, what they do with Liv overshadows Dom. And right now, Dom looks like he's shifting more into his AAA persona, if you looked at it. Like, his attack on Finn this past Monday, that is more of AAA Dom. Because he did not run away. He kept attacking Finn. And he was being really aggressive with Finn. So, we're getting glimpses of that AAA Dom. And hopefully, AAA Dom and WWE Dom will line up pretty soon. Kalisa, what do you think will happen on Monday with the group? I'm still thinking about that. Kalisa said, do you think Stephanie will make a member of the group? I don't think Stephanie needs to join this group. She has not shown any kind of heel tendencies. At least when Dom was turning and joining Judgment Day, he was showing the tendencies. Like we saw him get upset with Ray. We saw him get upset with Edge. Like we saw the turn signs here. With Stephanie, we don't. I don't see it. Jay says, "When do you think Dom will get a big push in the main event scene? Right now, since he's kind of exited the Intercontinental title, I think he's going more for main event now. He's starting to go probably main event adjacent. Like if he starts feuding with CM Punk, then you know he's getting that main event push. Um, as you said, I can see that happening because she's not helping Dom and Raquel win. Like notice that when Liv wasn't out there for Raquel, Raquel won. That's a big point too. Like whenever Liv was out there with Raquel trying to help, quote unquote, Raquel would lose. And then now against Io, like 2 weeks ago, Raquel won. Other than the TJG stuff, what do you think will happen on Raw? It's a go home show. I hope it's just good. Cleve said, "Do you think Dom might grab the chair from Liv and help Stephanie win?" I don't think Dom's gonna be out there at all. I think that's gonna be a Raquel and Roxanne thing. Because Dom has his own stuff.
When are you going to end the live?
Probably another few minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah. Um. So I don't think Dom's gonna help Stephanie. It's going to be. I think it's gonna be more of an accidentally on purpose with Roxanne and Raquel because I do think Liv is going to say on Monday, and I'll kind of get into this that she doesn't want Raquel and Roxanne to help her just because she wants to do it on her own, kind of shadowing Finn and what he did. Um, 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 okay, so let's close this out a little bit. So let's lay out my current theory. Dom and Roxanne might be running the same operation Dom and Liv ran against Rhea. Liv thinks she's in control. She thinks she's the architect, but she might be the Rhea in the story. She just doesn't know it yet because now she's getting in a position where she's getting attacked. Things are moving around her where Dom is taking control. Have I ever said my little where I think the Dom and Roxanne origin story might have happened? Let's talk about this. Now, this is not confirmed. None of this really has been confirmed, but this really hasn't been confirmed. This is just my little personal pet theory as relates to Dom and Roxanne. So, let's go back to NXT 2023. Dom is the North American champion. Around this time, Rhea gives Dom that infamous ultimatum when he lost the North American Championship the first time. Either he wins it back or don't come home. Um, so he wins it back, and this is where we start getting, really getting into the Dirty Dom persona. Now, in 2023, we had Roxanne in NXT. She was a face at this time. My theory is this is where Roxanne might have been attracted to Dom at here. I have no proof on that. I've always said that they should have ran like a kind of like a quote unquote fling between Dom and Roxanne here. So when Roxanne was in the brought into the Judgment Day, we would have that conflict there because that this is something where maybe Dom kind of messed around on Rhea um, prior to Liv, and that's still aligned with his character. And this is where Rhea was messing around with Jay too. So that kind of offsets each other, but you see what I mean. So we could have had that, and then we could have had that tension in the Judgment Day when Roxanne first got up. But right now, but they might run that back. Like that's just been my personal theory. Um, so in NXT, where did it go? Oh, my notes, my notes, my notes. Okay. Um, this is so in NXT. This is where Roxanne gets attached and maybe a little bit obsessed about Dom here. So Dom loses the North American Championship for the second time, and he leaves. And this is but Roxanne is still carrying this torch for Dom. So in the next couple of years, when Roxanne is pulled up to the main roster, Finn maybe sees her as an opportunity to put a wedge between Dom and Liv. But so Finn comes to Roxanne, wanting Roxanne to join the Judgment Day, and then in his demented demon self thinks that he is recruiting Roxanne to help with this mission against Dom and Liv. But he thought he had her loyalty, but he might have recruited someone whose loyalty was already somewhere else. Like she was already for Dom, so she joins Judgment Day to be closer to Dom. See, that's my little pet theory there. Like, you know why I said like what was Roxanne's reasons for joining Judgment Day? I have always asked this. Like, what did she get out of joining Judgment Day? Now we know with Finn, he was getting he's getting tension and turmoil between Dom and Liv, and he really thought nature would take its course with Dom. But with Roxanne, what would Roxanne get out of joining Judgment Day? It's not like Finn was promising like titles and aspirations and things like that. So what does she get? What did Roxanne get out of it? And my theory now and theory then is right now is that she gets to be in close proximity to Dom. Now, you can totally run this where you get Dom and Roxanne to hook up, and then maybe Dom is being his manipulative self. Now, this is where the darker form of Eddie Guerrero comes out. You know how we thought that Dom would channel the dark Eddie Guerrero when Eddie was in that later part of the Eddie and China story? Like, Dom can start channeling that. Like, that gets spun up. Because that's another aspect of Eddie Guerrero. So you can have that spin up with Dom and Roxanne, and then you can have, and this is where it leads to that Roxanne channeling AJ Lee. Now, we all know the AJ Lee story where she was, crazy. She crazy like a fox, but where it comes to guys and like how she would be manipulative and things like that. This is where you could get Roxanne to emulate her mentors and role models story in AJ Lee. You see what I mean? There's a method to my madness on that. So you can have Dawn channeling dark Eddie Guerrero when it relates to like China in that story, and then you can have Roxanne start to channel that obsessive AJ Lee type persona in the future. So you can do that, and then by the time all that stuff happens, then you can have Dom say like he swears off women, and then he does a clean break, and then he doesn't go with women anymore. That's what I think. You could do that and spin it up that way. But that's my little pet NXT theory. Like they had a fling, or Roxanne was just really crushing on him really hard when he was in NXT, and then when she finally got the opportunity to be on the main roster, and she had an opportunity to get closer to Dom, she jumped at the chance. Lee says, "What do you think about the teaser Liv interest for Mania?" I don't know. I mean, this WrestleMania bin has been such ass, so I can't really like be excited for much. Cleve says, "So is Dom supposed to make Roxanne cry like he did to Liv?" No, I don't think he's gonna be doing that. I think it's gonna be more of Liv is going to get that. I think it's going to be more like Liv doing that because they want her to turn face, and the only way to get her to be face after she's done all this stuff is to have that really hard fall. That means Dawn turns on her, JD, Raquel, Roxanne, they get turned on her. She hits rock bottom. Like, she has to hit rock bottom. And then after she hits rock bottom, then she can start building herself back up as that face. Because, and then by the time she is that face, she'll win the title and it goes on from there. That's what I'm thinking. But she's got to have that hard fall, like super hard fall. This is the fall that Rhea should have had, but because they always curated Rhea to always get the pops, like you notice how she like it's everything's curated for Rhea. Like she, everything was an interruption for Rhea after Dom and Liv turned on her. It's like everything was an interruption. This is my brutality. This is my brutality. So everything was just a curated pop for her. Um, but now with Liv, they could do it differently, where they break her down. She builds herself back up. She goes on that revenge tour 2.0, and then she's got established beef with Raquel and Roxanne. You can throw Dom in there too, and then you can go on from there. Masha said they could be the crazy couple of the Judgment Day. Yeah, like you could totally do you could do like AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler, if y'all remember that couple. You could do that. You could also do like Daniel Bryan. Like I can almost see like Dom being the Daniel Bryan to the AJ Lee. You remember how Daniel Bryan was like kind of like really, really, really manipulative and controlling of AJ? Like you could do something like that. Or you can kind of do the mixed match of the two. You can have like the Dolph Ziggler, AJ Lee, like persona like 75% of the time, but then at certain points you see that Daniel Bryan controlling Eddie Guerrero controlling aspect of Dom pop out from time to time too. So you could kind of mix up a lot of different personas there. I think it could work. And like I said, with Dom, he needs to have the opportunity to be dominant. That's the only reason I say like if he's going to be in another relationship right now, he needs to be it's because he needs to be dominant. Like we've always had it where women were controlling him with Rhea and Liv. Now he just needs the opportunity to be dominant. So if he has an opportunity to become dominant, then he can do that kind of persona, and then he'll have a clean slate, and then where he doesn't have to be in these couples anymore. You see what I mean? It's a method to my madness, like I said. Um, Senior says Dom and JD together remind me of Guerrero and Benoit. Yeah, like I know Benoit is a taboo, but yeah. I get what you're saying, Senor. I, Jacob says, I think TJ may or may not add new members to Judgment Day. I think they need fodder. Like, JD shouldn't be taking the hits all the time, and Dom can't take the hits all the time. So they need another person. I was really hoping Royce Keys would just pop up on Raw to be like a heel and a heavy to Dom. So, but since Roy Keys is on SmackDown now, he might go up against Weapon Man and Damian Priest. So I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get Royce Keys. I wanted Tony D'Angelo, but he's got the championship, so unless he loses it like relatively soon, he may not be there for Dom either. Um, I was thinking Omos might help Dom, but he's still with Dorian and Vikingo in AAA. So we're kind of shrinking the pool here. I still kind of think I want OTM, the tag team. I know they're kind of faces right now, but I kind of really wanted them because they had that Cholo vibe. I kind of wanted OTM to be around Dom because they had the Cholo vibe, the Bato vibe, and you could just have them be that tag team in the Judgment Day. For Heavy, I almost would say Otis. Let's turn Otis back heel again. I don't know what we're gonna do with poor Akira because I love me some Akira Tozawa, and JD and Akira had a really cool match on main event like a week, 2 weeks ago. So go check that out too. But I'm really you can do Otis turning heel, and him and Otis and Dom are friends in real life, so you could kind of run an Otis like just reestablish himself as a heavy. If you want to bring Akira too, bring Akira. I don't care. Bring Akira into the Judgment Day. You can just have somebody. You need somebody to take the heat, and Otis can take that heat. And even if you want to throw Akira in there, You can just have Akira be a heel because Akira can be an effective heel. Um, that man can he can get over as a face, but I would kind of like to see Akira as a heel too. So you could kind of run like a couple of different people there. We just need somebody to take hits, and we need somebody to be a heavy for Dom because I think he needs a wrestler that's a heavy to him, like somebody that will get in between them. No more using the women to do that. Just use like a guy to be that heavy for Dom, and I think that would work. Um, Lisa, does that mean Liv is going to burn down everything in the clubhouse that has to do with Dom? I think they're restructuring that clubhouse because it's been looking really, really sparse. So I think they're going to another restructuring phase. Um, so yeah, so I am still talking off the hill. Let me wrap this up a little bit. Now we do need to see what happens on Raw. We need to see if Dom and Roxanne are still like physically separated. Because if they still physically separated, then that's being deliberate. They're keeping them separated on the show for a reason. Um, we do need something with Dom and Finn. I kind of would like it just to see like you get like hints at the demon, not the full demon. Maybe hints. Maybe Dom gets scared. Maybe gets dragged to hell like through the ring, something like that. I think that would be cool. Um, we can also do we need direction for Raquel and Roxanne. Like I said, I am really, really pissed that Raquel does not have a match on the show, and people keep trying to shoehorn Raquel and Roxanne into that tag team match just because they don't want Raquel and Roxanne to interfere in the match. And I was like, look, y'all should have been wanting Raquel to win that match. Y'all should have been wanting Raquel to win the title. Y'all wanted Liv and Stephanie to be on her own and have her own match. Well, now y'all got the looming threat of Raquel and Roxanne costing Liv. That's me. That's what you get because you could have been rooting for Raquel to win the title, and then they could have had a triple threat match because Stephanie could have her invoke her rematch clause, and then there you go. But nope. Now people are worried that Raquel and Roxanne are going to interfere. Well, I don't want Raquel nor Roxanne in the tag team scene right now. That's locked up right now. You got the Bellas, and if the Bellas aren't in there, it's probably going to be the Kabuki Warriors. So Raquel and Roxanne don't need to be in there. So now I got to deal with Raquel not having a match. So I'm really annoyed with that. And even though I'm annoyed with Raquel not having a match, I don't want her in the tag team. Same for Roxanne. Roxanne should be in Intercontinental, and Raquel should be in the world title scene. So, I just because even though I'm sore about Raquel, I still don't want them in a tag team, and I'm not, especially not wanting them to get into the tag team match just so um, Liv and Stephanie's match doesn't get any kind of interference. Because even if Raquel and Roxanne are in that tag team title match, that doesn't mean that Raquel and Roxanne won't get in. Like Liv won't get interfered on. See what I mean? But on Raw, I do think Liv will tell Raquel and Roxanne that she wants to do it on her own. But she's doing it like she wants to prove herself. But I do think at WrestleMania she's going to expect the help, kind of like how Finn was kind of expecting it, and then he forsaked it anyway. But I think she's going to expect it, like then get kind of mad that they aren't coming out like they should, and maybe they come out delayed. Like maybe she says that she doesn't want them to be out there, and then at WrestleMania she wants them to come out, and then she gets upset that they haven't come out. So then they come out like it's a delay, and they're like questioning, like, what do you wanted us to stay in the back, and then that kind of distraction kind of cost her the title because Liv was distracted because they weren't expecting to be out there. You see what I mean? So with JD, he needs to be around the Intercontinental Championship picture, like those participants. Like he needs to be over there, kind of wrecking shit with Javon and Penta and Ray. I want to see what Dom and JD came up with for Ray. Like I need JD to do something. Like he needs to kind of establish himself because he wasn't in that 6-man last week. So I kind of need him to kind of get established now. You know what I kind of would like a nice to have? I kind of want Finn and Liv to talk. Now, here's the reason why. Now, have it where because you can we have this dangling thread with Finn and Liv because Liv is all claiming all this stuff and then Finn's been ignoring her. But I kind of want them to wrap this up in a little bowl, and this is how I would do it. Now, you can have Finn, maybe not his demon self, but Finn, Joe Blow Belore, come across Liv, and then Liv is smirking about like how she got rid of maybe she changes her story back to like she was the mastermind, so like she could show like dual she's talking out both sides of her mouth. So like last week she was saying that they were forced to kick out Finn, but maybe now when she's like around Finn, she can claim credit for kicking out, getting Finn kicked out. She switches back up, do something like that, and then she might be bringing up like that Liv. I mean, not like Roxanne is at her side. She's pulled Roxanne to her side, and she'll be a better mentor to Roxanne than Finn was. And then, and I had this all saved out. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna look this up really quick. Me and my notes. So keep that in mind. So we have like Liv gloating about um kicking Finn out. Well, I get my notes because I lost them. Bruh. No, wait, it might help to actually look at my name notes. Okay. Okay, here we go. And then Finn will acknowledge Liv. Like he acknowledges, like, okay, yeah, Liv got him out. Maybe he acknowledges that, and then Finn fires back to Liv, saying that he knows Dom best as his stepdad. That, and then he'll say something like Roxanne needed little convincing to join the Judgment Day. And then to really drive the nail in, he could say regarding Dom, once a cheater, always a cheater. You remember when Raquel brought that up around regarding Dom? She called him called Dom a cheater, and Dom was like, "I haven't cheated a day in my life." Really blasphemous stuff because like we know you've cheated, Dom. Like he and people were trying to tell me then that he was talking about matches. Like, and I was like, okay, we always know that Dom cheats around his matches, but he has cheated on Rhea with Liv. It was a double entendre. They do that double speak all the time with Judgment Day stories. You could be talking about one thing but mean another. So when Raquel brought up the cheating, and then what really drove it home is that Finn and JD cheated against Sheamus that same show, and then Raquel helped Roxanne and Liv cheat in the Raquel helped Roxanne cheat later on too. So it was showing the double entendre and the hypocrisy at the same time. But no, they wanted to focus on like she was just talking about matches. But she said Dom was a cheater, and Dom's hilarious response aside, maybe that's what gets brought up with Finn to Liv, saying like, "Hey, once a cheater, always a cheater." Because Dom cheated on Rhea with Liv, and what's stopping him? What's stopping Dom from cheating on Liv with somebody else? You see what I mean? And maybe that gives her a pause. Like maybe that just she's got to think about it because maybe she goes into denial, like, "Oh, Dom wouldn't do that to me," famous last words type situation. Because if we do get something like that, that's going to be we have to see the reactions to that because Fig could be like, "Hey, I know Dom best. Roxanne didn't need. I didn't have to convince. Roxanne to join, or he could actually say what I pointed out regarding Roxanne is like, you know, I didn't have to promise Roxanne a lot to join the Judgment Day. And then once a cheater, always a cheater. And then there you go. But that's but we need multiple stuff happening with the Judgment Day. What? Bye bye.
When are you going to go off the stream?
I'm gonna feel because I need to wrap it up. It's been 2 hours, so that could be something that goes on Raw. We haven't gotten any official confirmation for Monday Night Raw, so that might come in tomorrow from Scrap Daddy and Pierce. But yeah. And to kind of wrap things up, did I miss anything? So I talked about the photos. So now y'all have what I've been sitting on. I talked about the photos. I talked about the videos. I talked about the order of sequence on how Liv could have been set up just like Rhea. Um, we talked about a lot of different things. So, in conclusion, Liv didn't just lose control of the conversation with Roxanne. She may have been lost Roxanne entirely without knowing it. The wardrobe, Roxanne's wardrobe, wasn't random. The hit wasn't random. The silence wasn't random. The photo wasn't random. Roxanne hasn't been reacting. She's been telling a story. And the bandana, the shirt, the silence, the photo, they're all the same sentence. And if I'm right, what's the moment it breaks? What's the one clue we should have been What's the one clue we should have been watching for next? We'll have to see. My full WrestleMania predictions are going to be coming to the channel soon. I'm probably going to record that. That's going to be on YouTube. So this is going to be Judgment Day specific. I really don't care about a lot of the other matches. We're going to be breaking down um, Liv and Stephanie and Dom and Finn. And by Monday, I'll probably have all the context I need on my predictions. Right now, I'm looking at a Dom loss for sure. Liv, it can go 50-50, but I think she's going to lose too. Um, so that's it for Breath of Fire 4. I finally got that stupid bear or elephant or whatever. Um, we've talked about everything. This is my little makeup chat because I had to leave earlier and I wanted to say more last week, but I couldn't because I had to leave. But now I'm finishing up. So I really appreciate y'all. Y'all have really helped the channel grow, especially on YouTube. TikTok, I'm doing little bits there, but I gotta stay loyal to my TikTok because that's where I got started on TikTok. So, TikTok, y'all rock. YouTube, y'all rock too. Y'all been really helping me out. I'll be back on Monday. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything on Sunday, but I'll be back on Monday. We'll see how the Grow Home show to WrestleMania is, and then I'll have my WrestleMania predictions coming up soon. Also, like I said, you want to support the channel. I have Kofi and Throne and WrestleMania and YouTube memberships. So if you feel up to it, you too. I do think to launch something else in the future, because this is some Prime stuff that I was floating on, and I might start posting that somewhere else that I hold on. And you can join Discord. I need to get Discord. I haven't been really active, but Discord link is in on the screen as too. So if you want to join on Discord, you can there as well. Jacob says, what are they doing with Io? I don't know. I kind of feel sorry for her, but not really because she kind of, when Io was getting a lot of stuff, Liv was, and this is why I'm showing I'm fair to Liv. Like, Liv got fallen off by the wayside last year for Io. So right now, I'm just saying that it just shows that nobody really should be near Rhea. Jacob says, what are they going to be doing with Carmella and the Bad Dragon? I don't know, and I'm really upset that they've written out Carmelo. And Ilya hasn't even been on SmackDown in like 2 or 3 weeks. Khalib says, are we going to get more teasers on Liv in the group? Maybe. Jacob says, "What are they doing with Ray Phoenix?" See, this is where I said like Ray Phoenix needs to join Dom. Like, just gone and pull that trigger, turn Ray Phoenix heel, have him join Dom, and then have Ray Phoenix go up against his brother. Um, Senior says, "Don is lucky to face Finn back in the trunks." Like, yeah, that's the face is turned is complete when Finn goes back to the trunks. Let's see here. I think that's it. Um, yeah, I am done for tonight. It's been 2 hours. Y'all can check this out on the replay, all my evidence. And y'all can have and then I will catch y'all guys on Monday. Until next time, I am signing off. Y'all have been great and amazing, and I love all y'all comments. Again, special thanks to Khalib for pointing things out to me, and this is where you guys got a lot of this ball rolling, along with the how the Judgment Day sequence is with Rhea. The comparisons between Liv and Rhea to Rhea and Stephanie and Roxanne there. Um, and that also just prompted me to start pulling out these clues that I've been sitting on for a while. So thank you, Khalib. You rock. Um, Khalib says, "Am I going live Saturday for the live match?" I'm probably gonna do a post show. I can't do live streams during because I get really quiet because I want to watch the show. So I think I'm gonna do the post like WrestleMania Night One review next Saturday, and then I'll do that Sunday too. I think that's what I'm gonna do. It's just gonna be post shows, not live reactions, because my live reactions can be boring. I tried that for Royal Rumble last year and I didn't like it. So, but maybe on one of these smaller like shows, I might do like a live reaction. But yeah. But thank you, Khalib. You rock. All y'all rock. Thank y'all for joining me, Masha, Khalib, Senor, Jadarius, all y'all. Y'all guys are awesome. Khalid said, "Do you think Roxanne and Dom are playing this game with Liv?" I think they're planning against her. Because, like I said, we have to see if Roxanne and Dom are being really deliberate next year. But this coming up Monday. But yeah, that's it. If you have any more comments, drop it in. You can catch me on YouTube, TikTok. Drop me a line, and I will. And like I said, I like to try and credit everybody, and I need to do a nice little credit page this next video. So until next time, I bid y'all all adieu. Thanks for joining and watching.